So the growth mindset is this basic idea that success is about change, about interaction with the world, about practice, about learning from mistakes. So it's a very dynamic conception of success. The fixed mindset is where people think it's largely about talent, something you've been endowed with at birth, something you've either got or haven't got. And these two mindsets influence the way we interpret our experiences, and they unlock different kinds of behaviours. The good contrast is aviation and healthcare, both crucial when it comes to system safety. Aviation see every single event, every single experience as a potential learning opportunity. So they report their near misses and they capture all of the data on their accidents. So in both of these cases, they're learning the lessons, changing procedures, changing protocols, changing ergonomics, whatever it takes to ensure that the same mistake never happens again. In healthcare, there is much more of a tendency to conceal mistakes, to self-justify mistakes, to obfuscate mistakes, partly because clinicians like to think of themselves as talented, and so it's threatening, the idea that they've made a mistake on the one hand, and the other one is they're worried that they might get blamed for making a mistake on the other. Those two twin problems, I think, are very destructive in healthcare culture. It's why aviation, I think, offers a good model when it comes to safety, but it can be any aspect of performance that you have these two different basic responses. The crucial thing is giving people a chance to reflect on their own behaviour, getting them to think about whether or not each experience that they have is something that they can learn from, or whether they've got this tendency to want to either not think about or interrogate their experiences and just to constantly self-justify how good they are. Instead of torturing the data to come up with the answer that you're hoping it will provide, it's better to probably ask questions of the data in as open-ended a way as you possibly can, find out what it's telling you, and then test the conclusions that you've drawn from it. Because the willingness to test those conclusions in a more rigorous way is probably the best arbiter of whether you've drawn the right conclusions from the data. Google are, I think, very good. So they have two different things. They have the 20% time where staff are allowed to reimagine and to come up with something completely new. So that's radical change. But they also look at their tiny assumptions by performing lots of A/B tests. Is this the right colour for our web links? Could we change the design of this web page and see if we get better throughput? Can we improve our profitability by tweaking this assumption? And can we test it against some other assumption to see which one does better? So constantly recognising that even though they're smart, their current ideas are not the final word. They want to see where the mistakes are. They want to see where the errors are. And that, more than anything else, is a culture. If you really want to get a cultural change, of course there can be a bottom-up aspect to this, and small pockets within organisations can really have a contagious effect when they are very dynamic, and I think I wouldn't want to underestimate that at all. But my experience so far is that if it's just the HR function trying to drive the cultural change and everyone in the organisation kind of knows that the C-suite executives think that it's a waste of time, it won't happen. I think it's important that the C-suite executives are absolutely part of cultural change. They lead it and they're personally invested in it. And the only way you get to that point is if they're convinced by the data that it will have a tangible impact on the long-term bottom line. More than anything else, to recognise that leadership isn't just about strategy. It's about creating a psychological environment where people are prepared to innovate, adapt, and ultimately win.